The Stoics talked about pragmatism, and they also talked about character and principles and doing the right thing. This is something that I think we should all look at in our own lives and see where the balance should be, if there even should be one. There's an author who has written a lot of books recently about Stoicism, and he is very heavily in a particular information silo. He is a passionate advocate for his worldviews. And many of the things he believes in are opposite of Stoicism. And yet he's probably the biggest name in modern Stoicism or in making Stoicism popular. And he, just like me, probably, I'll admit it, kind of puts a slant on what the Stoics said to meet what it is that he believes in, and I do it for what I believe in. And I would like to clarify that not everything every Stoic ever said was something that I agree with. This wasn't all true as far as I'm concerned. I have some differing worldviews. Like everyone, I try to take the information that's good and use it. And then if there's some information that I think they got wrong, I don't use it. But I don't throw the Stoic out with the bathwater. And this person has a book to the effect of, or a recent book, that you should always do what's right. You do it right now. And that's something that I choose to do in life. I've used that as a guide for many, many, many years. And I mess up sometimes. Most certainly I mess up. Sometimes I know I'm going to mess up and I still choose to do that. Sometimes I make bad decisions. Sometimes I'm imperfect. I don't do what's right. But my goal is to do what's right. And I think that that's a good way to live. So what happens when I have a particular value and doing what is right is unlikely to help me achieve that end, that goal, that value that I have? So what happens when there's something that I think is the right thing to do and it is at odds with something that I would like to achieve? And I think that the best way to achieve that thing would be by using some means that are not doing the right thing right now. What if I believe, for example, and this isn't the case with me, but I'll use it for some other people. What if their idea is the ultimate in life, the ultimate goal that a person should choose to have is to making the world the best possible place for humans to thrive? And let's say that that's something that the person really believed. And they thought, there have been some really smart people who have done the math. They've looked at life and they've realized that there are certain people, certain groups of people who tend to have higher IQs. There's certain groups of people who tend to be more peaceful than others. And what is it that makes these people better? Well, one of the things is having a lot of scholastic education. And so perhaps a person would say, well, the central planners and the college professors have done studies and they've come up with a solution. If every human being had a postgraduate degree, postdoctorate, everything would be better. That's what we should be putting all of our focus on, not on drilling oil or setting up those spinning the power, the bird killing things, the not wind turbines, or anything else. All of the collective effort, and it shouldn't be a question that we ask people, "Hey, will you please?" No, it should be, "You humanity will do the following." Because we need everyone to have a postdoctorate degree because that will reduce family violence. That will help people think more intellectually. It'll just help the world be a better place. And so I don't even need to explain that to you. I know what's best. Me, Sam Harris, and a few other elites, we have all the answers because we're really, really, really smart. And we know what's best for you, and we're going to force you to live your life in a way that will make that happen. Well, what if that's someone who believed in Stoicism? What if that was their worldview? And then they're met with this clash of, well, yeah, I want less violence. I want more intellectual conversations. But in order to achieve that, if I need to steal 90% of everything that everyone earns and transfer that to college professors and administrators, even more so, college administrators, so that we can see to it that all living humans have a postdoctorate degree, it seems like that would be at odds. So the right thing for me to do, if I'm a Stoic, if I'm a peaceful person, is not to take money from other people against their will. And then that comes up against, hey, I want this goal achieved. I want everybody to have a postdoctorate degree. So then what can I do at this point if I'm a Stoic? That's where I think that the Stoics didn't always get things right. I think that's a big area that many of them believed that a state should exist and that the state should do what the smart people at the top of the state say that the state should do. And I disagree with that. I believe that you and I might be wise to figure out what our values are, set some principles, set some things in stone. Have the principle of I don't initiate violence against other people or their property. I don't steal things, that kind of thing. I don't lie. I work hard. I'm kind. And just set up a handful of things like that. Some things that you believe in. That's your core principles. Those are your highest values. And then every day when you're confronted with choices, you just look at your list of those highest values, those principles, and you say, well, here's someone saying that I need to steal a bunch of money so that I can pay college administrators so that they can have professors give degrees to people because they think it's going to have a positive effect. And then I would look and I would say, well, I don't initiate violence. I don't steal from people. Well, if I don't steal, looks like that's out. So I'm going to do the right thing right now, which is not stealing from anyone. Even if I really wish that more people had postdoctorate degrees, even if I really, really, really wish that. No, I've got this principle that I'm going to live by. Now, I am open to changing my principles. And this is something I have to apologize to Mitt Romney about. He was known as the spatula guy, the flip-flopper. It's always changing his opinion about things. And now that I am older, this was in 2007 or so that I was mocking him. I was kind of an active guy in my state level government, pushing for Ron Paul, and a friend of mine who was a banker was a local guy. He'd used to work at Bain with Romney, and they were buddies. And so he and I would just have these fun arguments sometimes. And Romney's thing though was flip flopping, and that's what I would give him a hard time about. But as it turns out, if you're changing your mind because you have better or new information, well, yeah, change your mind. I'm absolutely open to changing my mind, changing my principles. I've done a lot of contemplation and a lot of reading and listening and just really put a lot of effort into it over the years. And my current conclusion is that I choose not to initiate violence against other people. That's a principle for me. I choose not to steal. I choose to be honest. So if these are my principles, and I'm willing to change them if I get better arguments or good arguments as to why I should, that kind of makes life simple for me. And that's part of Stoicism, I think, is the simplicity of you figure out what's right, you figure out what's wrong. You and I will probably disagree on some of the finer points, and then you just go live your life that way. And isn't that a good way to live? And there will be times that there's some conflict between what you wish would happen and what you think will happen if you're being honest in your predictions, if you're being reasonable. Yeah, it's probably true that I am not going to have uh, I don't know, that pile of gold. If I don't go over and steal it from my neighbor's shed, I'm probably not going to have that much gold ever. And I would like to have that gold, but it violates a principle. And so, therefore, I am not going to go and do what it takes. Be pragmatic, live in the real world. Well, in the real world, gold just doesn't fall in your lap. You gotta go get it. If it's in your neighbor's shed, yeah, stealing probably isn't right. But you know what? A lot of people steal, and it doesn't matter what you sit in your big high tower. Oh, it's not good to steal. No, what really matters is the people who have the gold. And if you have gold, then you can make things happen. So, you know what? I don't like it any better than you do, but you should go steal the gold. That's the pragmatic thing to do. No, gold is a value of mine. It's a high value. I like wealth, but it's not as high as honesty. It's not as high as integrity and having a good reputation with my neighbors near and far. My neighbors know that I won't steal. They know that I won't lie. And that's a pretty good way to live. It's worked out well for me. And I'm not doing it just because it'll work out well. I'm doing it because it's the right thing. And I think that's kind of interesting and good how that tends to work out. What do they say? The harder I work, the luckier I seem to get. And it seems like the more you just do what's right and you're good, the better your life is. Somehow. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that just interesting?
We hope this helps. If you feel the vibe, we invite you to join our tribe. Please subscribe.